Okay, kiddos, you might hear a lot of noise in the hallway because this is Friday after school and everyone's in the hallway just losing their mind. So you might hear Mr. Diamond or something, but just keep it with me. Okay, so this is the narrative assignment part 2. And remember, I told you guys that it's so important that you think of this as a big picture too. Like you're writing this story piece by piece. So you kind of have to think ahead of time, like to make your stories, connect from one page to the other. So the page that we did and yesterday was the character in the setting. And we talked about Charlie and how she was a middle school girl and she was worried about braces. And then this part of the story is where the main problem that happens to Charlie in the story gets going. So before, you start in on these worksheets, you really kind of need to do some pre-planning and think in your head, like, what do I want my story to be about? Do I want it to be about a girl that is nervous about what people are going to think because she has braces, or is it about stage fright, or is it about, a bully, or is it about, any number of conflicts. So this is where you really need to kind of pre-plan before you start doing any of this about what your problem that this character has is going to talk about. So it says here that your conflict can be internal or external. Just try not to make it too complicated so that it cannot be resolved easily in a few paragraphs. You must still use at least 2 examples of figurative language. So basically every day, if you have 2 on this page, 2 on this page, and then 2 the next time, you'll have 10 total, which is what I'm really looking for, at least 10. So it says right here for you to circle the type of conflict. Okay, now I also put main conflict in each in bold letters here, because you can have 2 types of conflict, one internal, one external, or you can just have one or the other. You can notice though, what I did though, is I said that the external conflict is going to be character versus character. Charlie's going to have a girl in this story that comes in that is kind of a bully to her. Internal conflict though, and I put an arrow to character versus self, is that Charlie's really struggling with, worrying about what people are thinking about her and her braces. It's like an internal, problem. So it says here, how does the conflict in this story affect your character? And I put Charlie struggles with worrying about how her peers see her, nerves. She also gets picked on by a bully. So I kind of commented how this conflict is affecting my character in the story. Will your protagonist need the help of other characters to resolve this conflict? I put no, she will learn to be brave. So again, this is where you kind of have to know what your conflict is going to be before you start writing it down here. This is part of the whole pre-planning process, to use alliteration, of where you want your story to go, like what direction. Now, these are the same directions here. I've said around 10 sentences. You don't have to write exactly 10, but that kind of needs to be the ballpark. You'll notice that I didn't use as many lines as I did the day before. It's kind of like, this 10 right here is kind of like a rough estimate of where you need to, to shoot for. So in this one, I put, as soon as Charlie guzzled down her broccoli, she knew something was wrong. She could feel the broccoli between her teeth. Her braces had trapped the broccoli in her teeth like furry little green trees sticking out between her teeth. That is a simile here, okay? We're comparing the broccoli to little trees, okay? So I circled simile down there. I put Lily, who had always been the school bully, walked by and saw Charlie trying to get the broccoli out of her teeth. Lily suddenly squealed with silly laughter. Okay, so by me saying, sorry, I know you're going to get my finger on here. So by saying suddenly and squealed and silly, I'm repeating that S sound over and over again. So I put alliteration. And remember, it doesn't matter to me if, what kind of combinations that you use of figurative language, as long as you have at least 2 in there. I said that everyone was laughing at her. Charlie thought she would die of embarrassment. She could feel her cheeks getting red and felt the tears come to her eyes again. So when I said that she thought she would die of embarrassment, that's a hyperbole. Okay, she really actually isn't going to die. She's just exaggerating, how bad she is. So just in this little, space right here, I have put the big conflict up, that she is really upset. She's worried about how everyone's going to see her. She's crying in the cafeteria because she has, all this embarrassment. And so this is kind of like, this internal conflict of, she's worried about how other people see her and what other people think. So that is like where I have my internal conflict. And then on the next slide where I have my climax, you'll kind of see some internal conflict going in there too. But please, listen to me when I say that it's extremely important that you kind of plan your story out where you want it to go before you actually start writing. All right, I'll show you the next one in the next video.